Hey everyone, my name is Rooster and welcome back to Mechabellum. In today's video, I want to highlight the power of loose formation specifically as a very strong tech on crawlers. I'll be playing Elite Specialist, my favorite, naturally, and it'll be up against Scion, a very strong 201 player, winner of the Mag 1 Open season, and well, overall just generally I think a stronger player than I am, so it'll be a tough game. As you notice, no cam today. I just wanted to see what you guys prefer. Do you like the cam a lot? Do you think it adds something? Or do you think it is easier to watch the games without? Either way, I will be playing some aggro here. I know that Scion is a very capable defensive player and also a very capable standard player. So I'm going to kind of play towards my strength and try to push into him. Also, I think that Elite Spec is generally much better on aggro. It can have some problems playing in standard, specifically because you don't have great access to anti-shielded Fang units. So playing aggro here made the most sense, and that is exactly what we're going to do. Setting up on the left side of the board here, opponent just goes for 2 crawlers alongside the sledgehammers and arc lights they started with, and they are a fortified specialist. Now, my opponent has the sledgehammers and the arcs, and so here I decide to go for 2 marksmen alongside the crawlers and tarantulas I have. Normally, I don't particularly like going marksmen with spiders if I don't have them in my starting pack, because I don't think marksmen are fantastic on aggro. However, on Elite, because you have this level 2 marksman instead of a level 1, you actually do tend to one-shot these sledgehammers, which is a massive advantage. I think you just about don't one-shot the arcs. Yeah, you just about don't, which is a little bit unfortunate, but that's only the case against fortified specialists. Against all other specialists, you'll be completely fine and also one-shot those. So just a nice little power spike there for Elite, and it makes marksman a lot more viable, in my opinion. Now let's have a look at how this round is going to go. Arc lights, getting rid of my crawlers pretty efficiently, but at the same time, my spiders also managed to get rid of his chaff, and now it's going to be all up to the marksmen to do their thing. Opponent didn't really add much DPS, and so the spiders are tanking very nicely, and it looks like we should be winning round 1, kind of as expected. I think round 1 is a massive power spike for Elite, and they will often be favorite, so it's a good thing that we do win. Now round number 2, extended range arc light shows up. Could be a potential pickup for my opponent. It is kind of a nice card if you want to go charge shot arc light without having to worry too much about that second tech with the range. Improved firepower control system looks pretty good for me as well. I will say it's a nice item for spiders, and maybe I hold on to it and put it on a level 2 spider once I can afford it. Shield airdrop is also an option here. Opponent doesn't really have much in the way of anti-shield, so could just try and use that on the left side and kind of tank for the rest of my army. I'm taking my time here though. Let's have a look at what Scion has done. He has gone for the extended range arc lights, and it's just going to be building more of those. Obviously, charge shot no longer costs 150. That's been changed a couple patches back, so it's very hard to get into charge shot immediately, but I am kind of expecting him to go for something like that. He doesn't have to, though, as I pick up the improved firepower control system, like I said. He doesn't really have to go for charge shot. I mean, I do have some crawlers in there, and I mean, charge shot is okay against spiders, but I don't think it's necessary. He could just try and build something like some stormcallers or phoenixes as his DPS instead. Also, apologies for the voice. I still have a little bit of a cough that just refuses to go away. Looks like round 2 here. I take it easy. I don't use my improved firepower, and I just put down a Fang on the right side to protect the tower and a crawler in the back left to add to the chaff. Next round, I might have more resources and I can actually build some big units. But for now, I'm just going to be kind of waiting it out. I will say though, the fortified does make a bit of a difference here. Already having 5 arc lights and my marksman being unable to one-shot them is gonna make a big difference. We of course still can one-shot the sledgehammers, and marksman is gonna do very well indeed, but it looks like this time around the DPS from all of the combined arc lights will be enough to win the round. And yeah, there we go. Scion strikes back immediately. As we enter round number 3, will it be free units? Yes, it will. We have Fire Badgers, Sabers, Wasp, and Typhoon available to us. Fire Badger is kind of tempting, I will say. Level 3 Fire Badger is kind of insane and pairs up very nicely with that improved firepower, but there's a whole bunch of good choices here. Wasp can be good as well with the improved Typhoon, of course. A nice unit, kind of similar to Mustang in that sense. Very high attack speed, so high efficiency, carries the improved firepower well. And Saber, I mean, Saber is alright. It does well into almost all of these except Wasp. But it's not really a unit that would carry the improved, and I am kind of looking for something that I can put that item on. And so it will be the Typhoon after all. And I'm thinking here, well, okay, Typhoon, first of all, is the unit that I can't unlock myself, much like Fire Badger. It carries the item well, it gives me more anti-air, and as Elite, I will be able to just get a whole bunch of level 2 Typhoons, and that can, in the right situation, be very powerful, especially when you already kickstarted off with something like that item. And so, now that I'm transitioning into Typhoon, I decide, okay, let's sell out of the spiders, because they're kind of getting stuck, and there wasn't much chaff on the middle to get rid of anyway, so I think one spider here should be enough. And instead, let's try to pressure the right side. Now, this is where the Typhoon has been added from Scion, and he has also clicked the charge shot. And immediately here, right, I was talking at the start about that loose formation crawler tech, but immediately when your opponent goes for charge shot arc light, the bell should start ringing, like, okay, if you have a lot of crawlers, loose formation here is very good. If you've got a lot of fangs, shielded fang here is very good. And considering that I'm elite, it is far better for me to build crawlers than fangs, since crawlers use the additional stats a bit better, their tankiness, whereas fangs kind of tend to die immediately, no matter whether they're level 1 or level 2 or 3. So right side will just be barely winning. My Typhoon, I was a bit surprised. Getting stuck on the enemy Typhoon for so long, despite having that bonus 70% attack. But at the very least, it seems like we will be getting the missiles here. So farming some minus 50s at the end of the round will be losing, as the enemy arc lights are starting to farm quite well, all of them leveling up. And so here we go. Round number 4, we get a super supply. Hard to skip, but I will actually go for that and instead opt to pick the amplifying core. So a little bit of a risky choice here. Super supply round 4 is very often an insta-pick, and not choosing it will mean that I have a bit of an economic advantage for the next 2 rounds, but after that, Scion will start overtaking me by quite a lot. Now, the reason I went for this is because Amplifying Core is such another, like, fantastic item for the Typhoon. 2, I felt like I had to invest into my board, and spending the money on such an expensive card would have made the round quite difficult, whereas now I get to pick an item, build another Typhoon, build a Phoenix, and really try to pressure Scion while he's down on economy, right? But I will have to prove it. The other benefit I have as well is I am elite spec, right? So inherently I am also an econ spec because I don't have to worry about the elite recruit button. All of my units will already come with a level, and well, that has a lot of value. Now here we go. And the right side this time, with the help of the Phoenixes, has far more DPS available, so the enemy Typhoon crumbles quickly, and we managed to push to the left side. I have leveled the tower on that side as well, because I'm now kind of trying to hammer on the right side, realizing that the left is hard for me to contest. There's a whole lot of units there, and I think it's just better to try and prove an advantage on the other side of the board first, and then try to push in with a bigger army. And that will work out. So at least here, the round where we didn't go for the econ card, we managed to prove that advantage. Round number 5, we get double Scorpion, which of course stands out as a counter to Typhoon, and my opponent will pick that up. And for me, I'm thinking, okay, I know Scorpion is going to get picked, so I don't want the Fire Badgers. I kind of have Chaff there already with the high-level Typhoons. I need to pick something that'll deal with the Scorpions. And for me, that's going to be probably the Sabers. I get 2 of them, and they should be plenty strong at this level to deal with Scorpions. I could go for Melting Point as well, but I don't think it pairs up very nicely with a fast push like this one. And so I'd rather have the flexibility of having multiple Sabers. And yeah, here we go. 2 of those picked up. Got some levels available too on my improved firepower Typhoon, on the Phoenix. And now we're going to start adding more crawlers as well. Of course, I am still thinking about the loose formation, but I have to find the right moment to pick it. Levels here on the Typhoon, on the Phoenix. Opponent went for elite recruited Phoenixes and goes for range on the arc lights on top of it. And I'm really starting to just keep fleshing out the right side. Typhoons are now paired up with their own Sabers. I will likely want to range those at some point, but for now I don't really have the money for it. And here we're trading some missiles. I'm trying to get rid of the Sledgehammer pack, hopefully hit an arc light, deal some damage to the crawlers, and stall the push on the left side. Saber, like you will see, does lock on quite nicely on the right side, but on the left, there are some Sledgehammers in the way, and honestly, those are the most annoying unit on the board to deal with for now. I can get rid of the Chaff, I can get rid of the bigger units, but those Sledgehammers take an awful long time to deal with. And so I'm pretty happy, honestly, that I went for that missile on the left side, because now it allows us to push in so much faster and hopefully not lose the round here. My tower does go down. 7 seconds of debuff. Are the Phoenixes going to be enough? Looks like that will be the case, as they stay safely behind my Typhoon and Saber. And so that will be the round. A couple of crawlers find their way onto my right side tower, but I think we will be able to dispatch of them. And so we strike once again, entering round 6. So this is where Scion now will be paying off that super supply card that he picked up. Another improved shows up, so I'm getting some really nice items here now for my Typhoons. All of them have a stat boost item. Mobilized Battleship is available, but not picked up there for Scion. Goes for the EMP instead. And yeah, Electromagnetic Impact here, very strong. These shields on the Typhoons that I pick up this round aren't that strong. I mean, they do have, you know, some amount of hit points here. 8k per level, which will make 24k, but the Electromagnetic Impact will deal 35,000 to shields, so even on the high-level Typhoons, those will break instantly, and he pairs it up very nicely with the oil he purchased from the tower, which normally I would be able to block at least a portion of, but combined with the EMP, that's not going to be possible. And so, yeah, this looks to be a relatively scary round. Now, I do also pick up more crawlers and finally go for that loose formation tech, which should cause problems for the enemy arc lights. And Scion, perhaps realizing that this is coming, goes for more elite recruited units, picks up temp range, Mustangs with range, only the one pack though, and sells out of the Scorpions. So this kind of shows you one of the core problems you can have with Scorpion is if you manage to hit the targets that you need to hit with it, it's very good. But if your opponent is abusing Chaff, like I am here, it can be awfully hard to actually lock on to anything, and in that case, it's a 300 cost unit that just kills a couple of crawlers and, well, then dies. And so Scion realizes that it's not worth that amount of investment, and instead is starting to sell out now. Sabers are still performing quite well, but we are stuck in the oil somewhat. And now, with the debuff on our left tower, are we going to be able to close out the round? The arc lights are really starting to DPS a lot. My Phoenixes sadly go down, And as my other tower falls as well, it is going to be the round going over to Scion. I think I probably would have won this round if not for that oil play. But slowing us down was exactly what he needed. Round number 7. Photon emission shows up. I am going to be picking that up. Using it on the right side, of course, where all my units are. I am selling out of the left side slowly but steadily. All the marksmen are now gone. And this time around, I will try to push into the left side and try to avoid some of this oil if I can. I also go for the jump drive tech on my Phoenix. And yeah, I want to try to set up on the left side now. I think it's the right moment to do it. I need something there to kind of catch the enemy units instead of having them go to my tower every time. And, well, what better round to do it than a round when oil is still on the board. And so it's going to be another Typhoon there, another Crawler added as well. And a third unit there, the Crawler in front of the tower too. So really, really trying to hammer down on this loose formation tech. And I know that normally Mustangs are supposed to be the counter, but the amount of times I see them struggle, especially into these level 2 crawlers with loose formation, it just doesn't feel like it does enough. I think the only thing that really works well into it is honestly fire at this point. But yeah, here we go. Photon emission has been used, and we're trying to push into the left side. Will we be able to get rid of all the enemy sledgehammers in time? I don't know, but we can at least give it a shot. This time around, of course, we also do have our barriers. Again, the enemy Scorpion there immediately going down. And, well, it doesn't look like we're going to be winning this side, but at the very least, we do get rid of the enemy shield. And the right side is still holding on. I would say it's about even. But that oil is really, really slowing us down. It's making it hard for us to really capitalize on the tower pressure we have, which will mean Scion picks up another round as we enter round number 8. And on round number 8, we get redeployment offered. Smoke bomb is there too, quick cooldown if my opponent wants it. And quick cooldown would allow them to get the oil back as well. I really thought they would go for smoke bomb here because the EMP is back off cooldown. And I can't really do anything about it. So if they would EMP and then smoke at the same time, it would land and last for another 2 turns. And then next turn, the oil would be back off cooldown. But instead, they picked the advanced targeting system. Now, I thought this was very, very weird. If you gave me 4 choices, that would have been my last thing to pick. Not even that. I think my 5th thing to pick. I would have skipped rather than picking the advanced targeting. To me, it's a very odd choice because he already has the extended range on the arc lights. I'm pushing into him. Range doesn't really seem to be a concern, but we'll see if it matters. Also, Scion already had a quick cooldown, I just realized, which is why that oil will already be back next turn. And yeah, what I decide to do here is redeploy, go for that spell, and move my biggest Typhoon onto the left side. I also add a Raiden to my board. This was just unlocked and purchased. Reason being, those sledgehammers are mighty annoying. I think that those are the things that are kind of stopping me from pushing in fast, and so I think adding a Raiden here makes a lot of sense. I also mobile beacon here on the side, trying to kind of target that Scorpion, but it got sold. And yeah, just have a look at this, by the way. Look at all these crawlers running in, and my opponent has a whole bunch of Mustangs, but he's still busy clearing them, and the crawlers are getting awfully close to the tower. And then at the same time, this Raiden is just crushing the enemy board. The Typhoons are getting a lot of uptime. And now that the Sabers have gotten the range, we are starting to crush. And so from 2 rounds of kind of struggling, 2 rounds where we were stuck in oil, not really able to pressure, trying to mount an offense on the other side of the board, we have now started to stabilize somewhat. And as we enter round 9, we get a 3rd rotation of unit And opponent goes for the Vulcans from the drop. For me, Sandworm here looked alright. I think Overlord is fine as well. Just having another air unit doesn't seem like it would be the worst idea. And I do go for the Overlord. I don't feel like I needed that much, but it is a unit that does pair very nicely with something like the Typhoons. Opponent does have the EMP back off cooldown. In fact, he didn't use it last turn because he wanted to pair it up with the Sticky Oil Bomb, I presume. Which is a little bit odd because, I mean, I know I have the shields, but I feel like he could have landed this for the most part anyway. That being said, I know that fire is coming from the enemy here, or at least I thought he would. And so I decided to go for some hounds. It is a very, very unique scenario, but for once I go for triple hound deploy on round 9 with the sprinkler tech, and I decide to put them kind of underneath the safety of these typhoon barriers so they don't get EMP'd and they stay somewhat, you know, safe. They don't immediately get hit. And hopefully that'll allow me to clear some of the fire wherever it may be. And it is going to be on the left side. And so we can see now that is doing a pretty good job of leading in these crawlers without all of them dying. Right side, of course, does have a Vulcan, but it goes down relatively fast. And you can still see there are some crawlers coming in here, left side. And so with that, right side crumbles, we get the tower, left side, same story. Tower goes down as well. And with this many Typhoons left, on top of the Raidens, the Sabers, and the Overlord, that is simply going to be game. And there we go. So a nice elite specialist aggro game there. Utilizing Loose Formation, which I want to say might be the strongest tech on crawlers still. It's not something everybody uses. I feel like some people have forgotten about how powerful it really is after some of the nerfs. But it's hard to deal with. Even if your opponent has things like Mustang, I feel like this still performs quite well. And it stalls arc lights and that type of defense for such a long time. Very nice, especially on Elite, because obviously Shielded Fang is much harder to get into. Yeah, a nice pivot from right side to left side, utilizing the drops to our advantage, you know, going for the Sabers, predicting that the Scorpions were there. A nice little Hound Sprinkler play at the end, predicting that the oil would be lit on fire with that Vulcan drop, and that's how we get things done. If you like this video, please leave a thumbs up. Let me know down below what you think of Elite. What do you think of Loose Formation? Is it a strong tech? Is it a tech that you hate? Just let me know. If you want to stay up to date with latest content, consider subscribing. And if you want to see me play live, check me out on Twitch. With that being said, take care guys, and see you in the next video. Bye-bye.